Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take a HTML page, we want to render a 3D object to its div, to a particular div, say. And to render it, we need a renderer. The renderer is developed based on the scene and the camera that we define, and the scene will contain the geometry and the material. So it's very simple. Let's start. So we need four things, right? So we need say variable renderer, we need a scene, we need a camera. Okay, let's start here. We will show orbit controls, but a little bit later. Okay, but we can have it as a variable. Okay, let's do it. Let's start here. Okay, so the scene will be a three dot scene, and camera will be a three dot perspective camera. Now we have the first argument is the focal view. So the horizontal angle that the camera can see. Then we have, say, the width and the height, ratio of the width and the height, let's say 500 by 500. If that's our renderer size, we can also have it based on the window in an interactive manner that we will see. Then after the aspect, we have the near and the far. So how close can the object be, or how far can the object be? Can set the position of the camera as a 10, 10, 10. Okay, and we can do a camera dot up as 0, 0, 1. So typically what happens is, oh, sorry, 1 second. There's a mistake here. Camera dot up is actually given by new 3 dot. So we have a vector 3 of 0, 0, 1. So typically what happens here is y is pointed up and z is outward, which may be a little bit strange if you're coming from, say, a typical Blender environment or something like that. Or I don't know if Blend does in Blender. I'm not sure if the Z is outside on Blender. Anyway, so in this case, what happens is Z is fixed up and Y is probably outside and X is along the screen. So X axis will be along the screen, Z is up, and Y will be the one that's coming out. Okay, so we have set the position of the camera. Now vector 3. So vector 3 is defined within the three.js library. It consists of three numbers. The first number is the x, second is y, and the third is z. Okay, camera is set up. Now we set up the renderer. 3 dot. So this is a WebGL renderer. Okay, and we can do a anti-alias as true or false. Now we have the renderer. What else do we need? We need to fix the renderer to the HTML or div. Okay. So the way to do that would be, I'm wondering whether we create a new div or we just generate the div. So what we'll do now is we'll just generate the div so we don't have any dependencies on the HTML dot append child uh, dot DOM element. Okay, and then what else? So now we can actually, can we render? Oh, we have to set the size of the renderer. It's 500 by 500. And just note that we are using the same thing for the aspect ratio of the camera. Okay, so we'll tie up these variables eventually. I just want to get a simple box up and out on the screen. So we have the renderer. Now we can now render to screen. Okay, So this would actually show us something. There is some error. Failed to append the child. Oh, it should be okay. So we have to append the child to the body of the HTML. Okay. So we did that. Now we can do another thing to know that we are getting it right. Scene dot, and I always forget this. Is it scene dot background is equal to three dot color? I don't remember exactly, but I think it is this. Ah, yes, it is that. I keep getting confused between how we define the colors, whether it should be inside of quotes, which is obviously wrong. No, it should not be. And also, uh, what I get confused about is, for example, if you see this camera dot position dot set, I would imagine we would write new 3 dot vector 3 and then we would have this. But it doesn't, it's not always like that. It's just we just put the numbers there and then it knows that it's a vector 3. So so it confuses me sometimes. It I feel like it could be more intuitive if it was a bit more, if the API had been thought through, maybe. I don't know. But it is a very popular library, so I don't know why I'm complaining. And it's able to do these amazing things. Anyway, so we have that. Now let's say let's put a access, so let's say variable access is equal to 3 dot access helper, and let's make it, because our cameras are tens, let's make this 25, and actually let's make this 5, and then we can say that scene, so we have to add to the scene. We can't, we don't push to the scene, because in JavaScript you typically push to an array. Okay, that didn't work at all. Very interesting. Camera, I have no idea why it didn't work. Oh my God. I don't know. Let's try to add a box also. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Are we looking at, are we looking at, oh, what was it? Camera dot, I think it was look at. Does that work? No, that doesn't work either. So first of all, I want to make this white. Okay, it's totally white. Now access is that, that didn't, oh, that's because it's rendering the scene before we do that. Okay, so the problem was that it was rendering the scene and then we are saying that, add the access. So obviously it has finished rendering, it has finished the rendering process, and then we say add something to the scene. That doesn't obviously work. So what we need to do is we need to have this last. So this will always be at the end of all the objects. Okay, so then everything will work. So let's add a box now. What was it? Box geometry, and it gives us the width, which is a let's make this 3 comma 3, height and depth of 3. Okay, and let's make a material. Because I don't have lights, I will add a mesh basic material. If I had lights, I would have added a Phong material. So the mesh basic material will take parameters in the form of a JSON, and we can say that color will be new 3 dot color, and we can do 0x. So I think 0. Oh, so if you are familiar with the way colors are constructed, maybe with RGB, Uh, so if this was RGB, we would have said something like color RGB 255, 0, 0. So in case you don't know, then all the colors, these are red, green, and blue. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. And we have defined red to be the highest at 255, which is the maximum. The colors can be defined from 0 to 255. Uh, and green and blue are 0, so it's wholly red. So our box will be wholly red. Uh, and let's and in this case, what we did is FF is actually 0 to A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so 0 to I think 16 and then or 0 to 10 and A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah, I think it's 0 to, you can do 0 to 9 and then A, B, C, D, E, F, and then you'll get this. Okay. So that's so the equivalent of red would be this 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and if I stick this RGB in here, it should be the same thing. So suppose we want to make like red and blue are maxed out, or let's do a blue. So you can see, I think you get a feel for what works. Uh, I just want to do this. I just want to use this. Okay. Actually, I just want to do white. You can also do like three of them. So 0x, 1, 2, 3. That will be a gray. Oh no, that's a bluish. I don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah. So we have white there, and I want to use the same convention here. So it will be red and green, so yellowish tinge. And then so we have box material, and then let's create. We can only render mesh to screen. So let's do a mesh. Will be equal to new 3 dot mesh box comma material. Okay, and then scene dot add mesh. Okay. Oh yeah, it did. It already added the mesh. So for now we have completed a 3D scene. We didn't add controls, and there is no interaction yet. It's not running off a timer. Uh, but in the next class, we will organize the code and we will set up timers and so on. Okay. No, so next class, yeah. So we'll do orbit controls and then we'll do the timer thing. We need to do the timer thing with that. Okay, so see you next time.